Okay, hello and welcome to What a Hit Son, episode 2, the Retro Football Podcast. I messed that up last week as well, the Retro Football Podcast for retro football fans, and I wrote the line. So I'm delighted to be here with Tom Knibb today, Aston Villa fan, lifelong. How you doing, Tom?
Yeah, not too bad, Ben. Yourself, mate?
Yeah, all good, mate. Happy that it's episode 2 now, because we're underway now.
You know what the crack is.
Yeah, because you get a bit nervous about starting things, but now we're underway.
Yeah, I'm not quite Chris Kirkland though, mate.
Well, couldn't have asked for a better first episode than that. He was a lovely guy as well, and he sort of helped me through it as well.
Yeah, he was very good on it, to be fair, I've got to say.
So
yeah, if you get more like that, mate.
Exactly. So when we start What a Hit Son, I'll always ask for a team and a manager. It's pretty obvious what team you're going to choose. Manager doesn't have to have managed the team you chose, but I'm sure he will. So I just need a team and a manager.
So you want, well, my favourite team, is that a certain team, Villa team, or?
Yeah, no, just your team that you're going to...
Yeah, Villa, and then look, it's... My favourite managers between probably Mourinho or Dean Smith, mate. So
okay, so we can have both.
The Mourinho. Go Mourinho. It's retro football fans.
All right, Mourinho. So, why Aston Villa? Why did you choose Villa when you were a kid as a team to support?
I had absolutely no choice in the matter. So yeah, from before I couldn't even remember. Well, ever since I can remember, I was getting dragged around the country, home and away, watching them, and it's kind of just part of my blood.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't have much choice, and I've carried it on. I'd like to think so.
yeah, because your parents obviously were mad Villa for a long time. They've been going for many years, haven't they?
Yeah, I think my dad always says he's missed something like 7 games since 1983 or something.
That's mad, isn't it?
It's well, obviously now it's a lot more because we've missed near enough 38 games from the entire season. But about something like 7 since 1983 or 1985. Yeah.
Okay, Brent. So when you were growing up, we all have our heroes of our teams. That's what sort of inspires us as well to follow our teams. Who were your Villa heroes when you were growing up?
Lee Hendry, Paul Merson.
Yeah.
And then you look into growing up a bit more. You had Juan, Pablo, Angel, and then when I was coming to the sort of adult sort of ages, well, the drinking age I call it, of about 16. You had Ashley Young, Gabby, Carew, Larson, Petrov, Barry. Yeah, frightening side then. So, well, if I'd say all-time hero, it's between Merson and Hendry.
Merson and Hendry. Yeah, it was fantastic, Merson, wasn't he, really? Absolutely brilliant.
And for someone to be that good with the outside of their foot, it's frightening. I don't get it.
Yeah, and he came to you at sort of the latter stages of his career as well, really. So, and he was still on song.
Yeah, well, very much so. I mean, I think he thought he was going to stay a bit longer as well, and then we let him go, and it's something like we were the only team he'd left, and he cried after leaving or something.
Yeah,
so he must have thought he was going to remain a bit, but he was ridiculous. You look at that goal he scored at Everton away when he lobbed the ball from 45 yards in the last minute of one of the worst games ever. It's like, how are you doing this?
But he's one of the rare few that could do that.
Yeah, usually he gets spooned into Rose's head.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, Merson, and then as you say when you grew up, Juan Pablo Angel. Do you think he fulfilled these expectations at Villa?
Nah, not really. But I was watching clips, I think it was last night, and in 2003-04 season, he scored over 20 goals in League and Cup. Not many do that for Villa. And, we'll probably get the closest to it this year with Ollie Watkins. But Angel that season was just incredible. Scored a goal against Chelsea in the League Cup, which was a joke. Against Bolton in the League Cup, a joke.
Yeah.
didn't fulfil his potential because he didn't carry that on every year, but superb footballer. Really, really good.
Okay. So match days, obviously you go to the majority of the Villa games.
Yeah.
If you just want to explain the buzz about match days and why they're so special to you and what it is that makes you want to go all the time.
To be honest, I say about 2-3 years ago, there was only like 3 or 4 of us going.
Yeah.
But it turned into, over our promotion season, it turned into going with about 30, 40 people. And it's that buzz that you just, you're asking who's going, like in the days coming up to it, working out your times, going to the pub, like meeting up in a pub 6 hours before kickoff. It's that's what it's all about for me. And you'd find stuff like that Sheffield United game, he was 3-0 down and scored 3 in the last 10 minutes. I saw all 3 goals in the Aston Social. I'd already gone. I couldn't be bothered. I was still happy to see a score. But it's like, well, it's all about having a beer with my mates, like, to be honest.
Yeah.
Obviously, the football is the key part. You don't do it without it, but that's kind of where the excitement comes from. It's just seeing everyone. And then obviously I sit at the top of the whole end, which there's that. It's just unbeatable.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, at the minute, like the social, because there were fans that were offered tickets where, like, limited tickets, like not long ago when, like, through the COVID thing. For me, I don't think I could do it. Like, it's the social element for me, which is the main thing that draws me to the games.
Yeah, we didn't get the chance to even give it a go because we was tier 3.
Yeah.
But I think if you could guarantee even if you could guarantee you could go with one mate, it's not the same.
Yeah, exactly.
It's and then you're walking up to the ground. There's going to be nobody there because you've all got your certain times. And I mean, a lot of people that I speak to are just like, I won't bother until they're back fully open.
Yeah.
I can't really blame them. To be fair, the pubs are likely to be fully open before the grounds, and then you'll just find will just stand in the pub and watch it, which is a shame, really, because the pub's indoors and the ground's outdoors. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah, for me, it's the social element of it that sort of drives you to the games because you meet up with your pals and whatever. But I will say, last season, I'm sure it was last season, but doesn't last season seem like a long time ago? I can't really differentiate what was last season and what wasn't.
Well, yeah, because obviously it's only the short gap, weren't there? But I think from a Villa fan's perspective, mate, last season seems a million years ago.
Yeah, like because the first game of the season, if I'm thinking, last season was Tottenham Villa, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was on Soccer AM that morning.
You're on Soccer AM, weren't you? We'll talk about that in a second. But you're on Soccer AM. But I remember being at the Tottenham game, Villa, and I obviously went to a lot of Tottenham games last season before the cut-off, and I've been to the new ground quite a bit. And I will say that the Villa fans are probably one of, if not the best I've seen. You were singing, even when you were 3-1 down, you were singing the whole way through.
Yeah, it's raucous that day. That was proper. That was the R5 kickoff as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 5:30. Yeah, so we all met up about 8 o'clock in the morning. So it was
we were stressing trying to get away from Soccer AM because everybody had already been in the pub watching us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
In London, so we wanted to get there. Like, we're loud away from home, mate. I just look forward to doing it again. Every now and then a video will pop up and you're like, I see.
Because
need it back.
Yeah, because at the Lane, the away fans are you're nestled in that corner, aren't you? You were sort of in that corner bit, and I could just see you all bouncing. View.
What a ground that is, by the way.
Beautiful, isn't
it? That's seriously special. I mean, I went the Old Lane enough times, and it was. I always liked the Old Lane.
Yeah,
that new one's quality. So easy to get a beer inside, and like the concourse as well, mate. That was even louder than it was in the stand. It's so good.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. That. So, Soccer AM, how did that come about?
Just in the week before, I seen somebody post on their Insta story about it that they're after people. So I just basically said to the boys, right, we're going on Soccer AM. So made the best application, got through to them, and then I think the next day, they was on the phone like, "Oh yeah, are you free at these times?" Yeah, absolutely right, fine. We'll put you in a hotel, book your trains. You're coming on.
Wow, that's decent,
It's
isn't it?
quality. Yeah, it was superb.
You went
It
on.
was really good.
Did you meet Jimmy Bullard and Fenners before the show, before you come on, or?
So beforehand, you're in like a green room.
Okay.
And they just give us like cans of water, which after the night before around the Brentford ground was well needed. But you just sat there and there's like highlights on the TV screen and stuff, like a cinema screen. And Fenners came and had a chat. Bullard just slammed his way through the door. All right, boys! And off he goes. Yeah. You get a decent chat with him and stuff. Well, yeah, like they had a decent chat with Redknapp. He got told off because when they were starting the show, he was just stood there talking to us, and he wasn't supposed to be near us at all. So, Harry, will you get down here?
Yeah, because Harry and Jamie were both on, weren't they? Because he called in Jamie on the John Arne Reese.
Yeah, so they got up because they didn't think Harry was going to kick, so they called up Jamie. Well, we'll do this. We'll do the transfer window thing, and he turned up. He's like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. That was a great episode. So two things that I noticed that made me chuckle on that was first, your mate who shanked it, like he completely missed it, didn't he?
Yeah. So there's a couple that were just pinging the ball anywhere, and then
yours was all right. Your first one that you had saved by the keeper.
Yeah, my second one went in, but they didn't count it because it went in off the wall. But
because I'm sure
I think that should count.
Didn't you have a mate who just fell over, if I remember?
Yeah, he ran straight into the bouncing net. Yeah.
That was,
so by the time we were off the programme, he'd gone viral.
Yeah, that was absolutely brilliant. That made me chuckle, that did.
Yeah, and another mate as well, because he's left-footed, got told to get off the camera because he's like, "I'm left-footed, I'm going to stand over here." You can just see his massive head. Like in front of the camera. Move out of the way, mate.
And the second thing I noticed was you smashed it in the questions. You done really well, didn't you?
Yeah, got 2 wrong. I didn't answer the one because it's on the Women's World Cup, and I didn't watch a second of it.
Yeah.
And then the other one was just like, who did Harry Redknapp play for in America or something?
Oh, really? Yeah.
So, well, yeah, everything else I think we got right. I was watching it back the other day, and someone was taking the mick because I said that Seattle Sounders was in the MLS. I was like, "Oh, they are."
Yeah.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, exactly.
That's everything. You've got to criticise somewhere, haven't you? Like, wow.
Yeah. Old people always will. That's what it's about these days, mate. But you would have seen in the Chris Kirkland episode, I created a quiz called "On Me Head Son, Not Off Me Head Son." We're going to play that soon. That's why I came home a bit early and I wrote a few more questions because I remembered what you were like on Soccer AM. So,
let's see if that happens again. If I'm competing against Chris Kirkland, I might get a bit nervous there.
Yeah, but all you've got to do is score 4 and you've beaten Chris Kirkland. So you can tell all your mates out down the pub. I've beat Chris Kirkland.
Well, if we ever get back in the pub, mate, yeah.
Exactly. So I was going to say, what are because you go home and away, what are the best grounds you've visited, the ones that you always look forward to going to, and why?
I've always enjoyed Goodison and Fratton Park. I love going there because it's a decent trip. It is from where we are in Solihull, you get, it's all standard journeys really as well. So that was something a bit different to everything else. So I've always enjoyed Fratton Park because it's just so old school.
Yeah.
I first went there in about 97 and they didn't have a roof and it was a terrace.
Oh,
January,
nice.
cold, foggy, rainy.
Yeah.
I've always said between Fratton Park and Goodison, my favourite grounds.
Yeah. So are they? I imagine when you go to Goodison, the Everton fans, I imagine they're quite passionate. They make quite a bit of noise, don't they?
Yeah, they can do. They get on their team's back a little bit because when we go there, we tend to do all right.
Yeah.
And then they do get a bit rattled if you're doing all right. But I love the atmosphere there as well. They must have about 4 songs at they actually play over the speaker, like when they're coming out and stuff. They got that one that was famous and got top of the charts earlier in the year. We got all sorts, and it's just a typical decent atmosphere you'd expect from a club like that.
Yeah, I think they've got the song that Tony Bellew actually used to walk out to. He's a big Everton fan. I think he used to walk out to.
Did he walk out to Z Cars, was it, or something?
That's it, yeah, Z Cars, yeah, that's it, yeah. He used to walk out to that. So this next part is called the Villa Vault. So I've chose 15 players, and I'm going to ask you, we'll do it a few times, I'm going to ask you to choose a number between 1 to 15. The player you choose, I just want you to say what you like. If you remember much of him, like, I think you will, most of these. Remember much of him, like how he was perceived at the club with the fans, whether you liked him or not, and whether he done okay. So 1 to 15.
So just pick a number, yeah?
Yeah, just pick a number, yeah.
We'll go number 10.
So that's a good start for you. Dalian Atkinson.
Whew. Yeah, he's very popular, you know. I don't know if I ever saw him play live, but you know,
that's embarrassing.
That's brilliant. Yeah. I'm not sure I ever seen him play live, but yeah, one hell of a bloke and player. He scored in the cup final for us, didn't he?
Yeah.
You know, he's.
We're just going to let that wilt. We're just going to let that wilt away. We'll get it better for the next episode. So yeah, what was the umbrella goal?
Oh yes, what a goal! It's against Wimbledon at Selhurst, wasn't it? And frightening. That run is just. You can watch that time and time again.
Yeah.
Obviously, belting finish as well. Just chip the keeper like that. There's a story. There is actually a story on the Birmingham Mail that the bloke with the umbrella just basically just ran and just noticed he was on the pitch.
Yeah.
It was like, oh yeah, Sam, there you go.
Such a good goal.
And already, Stu, that let's face it, that goal would be world famous anyway.
Yeah.
Without the umbrella, and then you get that added to it. So
such a great goal. So yeah, another number then, 1 to 15.
Try number 7.
Oh, I was hoping you would choose 7. Jolyon Lescott.
Okay. Yeah, probably the least popular footballer that's played for Villa since my birth, mate, to be honest.
Yeah.
There's a fella called Hodge in the late 80s. I think he's the last one that was that unpopular. Absolute disgrace for footballer for us.
Yeah.
Supposed to come in as like a Villa fan and
Yeah.
No, he's not appreciated. That pocket tweet as well, which obviously wasn't a pocket tweet.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But I had to put it in because I wanted to put a bit of controversy in there as well. But I knew you were going to choose him at some point. I just knew it. So we'll do 2 more. So 1 to 15, mate.
All right, let's go with number 15 then.
This is one. I don't think he's with you for long, but I thought he did all right. Robert Perez.
Again, he was rubbish.
Oh,
he really was rubbish. I used to compare him to an old man running for a bus.
Oh, really? Well, I suppose he was at the end of his sort of tenure at the time, I guess.
Yeah, what sticks out with him, mate, he come on at Albion away, we were 1-0 up, 15 minutes to go, something, and we lost 2-1.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I thought it was only me that remembered that, and then I seen somebody writing about it a few weeks ago, and I was like, yeah, and it's absolutely horrible for us.
Fantastic. So, look, we'll do one more, 1 to 15.
I hope I get a good one now. Go on, let's go number 5.
Number 5. You've already mentioned him, Paul Merson.
Oh, wow. Yeah, magic. He's
It might have been all fall down now. It might have been all fall down.
Honestly, just magical. He's the sort of bloke that it's probably a bit inappropriate to say you'd love to go for a pint with him, but he's absolutely hilarious, that bloke, in every way, like as a personality. You've got him, then just a superb footballer. So I remember him getting sent off for a handball. I think it was against Celta Vigo or something as well.
Yeah.
Slav and Bellew or something. He's just the most blatant handball just because he could. He's a legend. I don't know if everybody would call him a Villa legend, but certainly from my perspective.
From what I've seen, Villa fans are very fond of him, or were very fond of him. Still
Yeah,
are,
massively. I mean, let's put it this way: if you put, well, sadly, obviously, you can only put 3 of those players on the pitch now for the whole end on a match day sort of thing. He'd certainly get the best reception out of the 3 out of him, Perez and Lescott. He was absolutely sensational. And another famous goal as well when we were 2-0 down at half time to Cov City last game of the season. Merson scores the winner in the last minute with an absolute screamer.
Oh, really?
And people on the pitch a lot after that sent Coventry down. It was mental. Yeah, very popular, very, very, very popular man.
He was always good for a screamer. Always.
Yeah.
Always good for a screamer.
I just keep on thinking of more screamers in my head. I'm like, he was just unbelievable.
Yeah, he was fantastic. Yeah, big fan of Merson myself. So I think I'm enjoying this. So we'll do one more.
Okay. Let's just drop into.
Oh, I lost you for a second there. Did you say a number?
Typically at the time, yeah, number 9, mate.
Number 9, yeah, you just went a bit jolty there for a second. 9 is Stan Collymore.
Yeah, not the most popular. Again, someone that I think when he came, there was the hope that he'd be turned into that world-class striker he could have been. Turn him into the England regular he should have been. And it just didn't go well. He had his off-the-field problems, and I think he's still reasonably well regarded, but people were disappointed with his spell. Obviously, we've spoken before about that Atletico Madrid game, which we ultimately lost. But that goal in that amazing white kit as well,
in
love front
that
of the
goal.
whole end, running off, giving it all this.
Yeah,
that showed that he loved the club and he had the talent. Just unfortunate that it didn't go right.
Yeah, I love that game. I watch that all the time. And as you say, you lost, but it's actually still quite iconic, that goal amongst Villa fans,
massively,
isn't it?
Massively. And then Lee Hendry nearly scored not long after, which would have that would have put us through to the next round, I believe.
Yeah,
that's
the whole
quarter final of the UEFA Cup or something. That was all the round before.
Yeah, the whole thing about it, like the Jonathan Pearce, I think it was as well. The commentary goes, "Stan, make a name for yourself," and then it rockets in, and then
how good is that commentary?
Villa go
That's
mental.
Channel 5 commentary.
No, he goes, "Make a name for yourself."
Sundays on a Thursday night, and you've got them supporting the team that you're watching because they're English.
Yeah,
I always find like the replay graphics. It comes round in like a pretend screen, and it looks so retro. It is amazing.
Yeah,
I might have to just start watching Villa season reviews again and see if we can find them.
Absolutely fantastic, and Villa, like, it went mad, didn't it? Villa went.
Yeah, I know I was there that night. I can't remember too much about it, but it went insane from what you can see. Like,
yeah, it's mad. I love watching that clip. So, as we said before, on me head son, not off me head son. If you get 4, you can beat Chris Kirkland of last week. We've got 3. I
think I got 5 last on when I was watching through. I think I got 5. So
okay, well, we'll start a timer up as well. So basically, to explain to anyone, it's a quick fire round. You get a minute to answer as many questions as you can about retired footballers' heads, haircuts, headers. You know, sounds weird, but it's not really. So, are you ready?
Yeah, go for it. Let's go.
Okay, let's go. In 2010, whose headed goal secured Spurs Champions League football against Man City?
Crouch.
Yep, correct. Who famously used his shoulder instead of his head to score for Man City against Norwich?
Don't know.
Okay, who headed Everton's winner in the FA Cup final in 1995 against Manchester United?
Paul Rideout.
Yeah. Who scored the Premier League's first headed goal?
Brian Dean.
It was. Which team conceded the least headed goals in the Premier League in 2005-2006?
Chelsea.
It was. Whose header in the 1980 FA Cup final was enough to win West Ham the FA Cup against Arsenal?
Oh, I can't remember his name.
Okay, Peter Crouch scored his first goal for England with a header against who?
Oh, Trinidad and Tobago.
Uruguay. Who has the most headed goals in the Premier League, Dwight Yorke or Dion Dublin?
Dion Dublin.
It was, yeah. And I think that's time.
Lovely stuff.
So
5 on it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Shit at maths, but yeah, 5. You got 5. So you're in the leaderboard against Chris
Happy
Kirkland.
days.
And say that any pub you go in, any debate you get in, you can say, yeah.
I'm going to tweet him after this. So, mate, I had you there, Chris. I've had you. I've made you look a mug.
Yeah, exactly. I want to quiz against Chris Kirkland. What have you ever done? Exactly. That's what you can say to anyone you meet.
What a bloke he was, though, by the way. That was such a good watch.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, as I said before, yeah, he carried me through quite a lot, really. Yeah, he did.
Fair play to him. I've never heard him speak. Well, he was quality.
Yeah, very good. So we're going to wrap up shortly, but we're going to talk about your Premier League Classic game, and you've chose Everton away 3-2.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
It's still curling up the backdrop. I can hear it. It's just completely mugged me off. They're still going for it.
Probably been up there for about a week as well, yeah. Yeah, that game was just crazy. I mean, so Sidwell scores in the first minute.
Screamer.
Absolute belt. And then you never really see the first Lescott goal, first equaliser. I couldn't remember no idea when he scored it. Yeah. I believe it was in the first half at the other end.
I think it was, yeah.
Then you got that tragic back pass from Phil Jagielka, which, if you watch it, to be fair, Ashley Young, genius. To know to run there, absolute genius to score. Lescott last minute pretends to throw his shirt into the Villa fans. I remember it like yesterday.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember the scenes when Ashley Young went through and scored that. And O'Neill described him as world class after that. And he weren't wrong. He was, on that season, he was unbelievable. Yeah,
Prime Young was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, that game as well, notable, because once Lescott scored, about half of the fans had left. So there weren't many of us left in there, because it was a Sunday 4 o'clock as well. You know, people got trains to get.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But I was still in there, and it was like a massive surge from all the exits, people piling in to celebrate.
Yeah.
It was carnage. That was my first proper away game where I properly back as well. So really good memories of that one. And one of those that you see pop up every now and then, you're like, wow.
Yeah, he was fantastic. Obviously, he moved to United, but you got to think, in those days, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you move to an Alex Ferguson team if you've been offered?
I mean, he just played for us in the 10-11 season, where we nearly went down but finished 9th. Doesn't make sense, but 2 games to go, we could have gone down. We had Arsenal away to play and Liverpool at home. We won both and finished 9th.
Oh, yeah, I remember that, yeah.
You can't blame him for leaving. I think people hated Downing a bit more for leaving because he hadn't really given us as much as Young did. But just look at how long he stayed at United for.
Yeah, he's a great servant to United. Fantastic.
No, he ended up captain. I think if our owner at the time was a bit more ambitious and willing to put a bit more money into the club rather than sit back and say, right, just stay up from now on.
Yeah.
Then I think he could have ended up being with us for a lot longer and really probably, I hate to say, but done better in his career as a winger because he ended up as a right back for about 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, he was his pace, his crossing, shooting, incredible footballer, and that was just the tip of the iceberg. That Everton away was just incredible.
And Brad Friedel was going mental as well at the end. He was going absolutely nuts.
One to look out for is a celebration when they're running down the line. Larson and Young both doing this, and they both move their hands away at the same time. I don't know how they do it to this day. I'd love to ask them if that had practiced or what. It's so bizarre.
Yeah, fantastic, great game. So, you chose, we'll say Jose Mourinho and Dean Smith. We'll give you two. Chris Kirkland had two. He had Houllier and Steve Bruce. So you can have your two. You can have Jose Mourinho and Dean Smith. Can you tell us why you chose them as managers?
Mourinho I think look at what he's done and just look at the way he is in the media. I think you've got somebody there who's really unique.
Yeah.
The way he comes across, his special one days and all that, he's just he's just a really decent character. And he started to get his mojo back a little bit at Spurs, I feel.
Yeah.
Where he started to be the old him rather than he turned into quite a bloke I didn't really like at United. But now he seems to be back a bit, and it's nice to see. Let's face it, he created one of the best teams in Premier League history as well, like Chelsea 04.
Yeah, fantastic team. Yeah,
absolutely mental. To be honest, that's just wrong. Yeah, what they did. So yeah, I love Jose, and if there was ever a chance he could pop in at the Villa if Smith was to sadly no longer be there, I'd happily take it. But nicely linked. I don't want Smith to ever leave Villa, like what he's done. Yeah. I mean, we're talking Premier League football, but what he did for us in that season in the Championship, just so special. And he's just made the right calls. I think he's the reason Jack Grealish is still at the club. I think then he's clearly the reason why we are where we are now. We're looking at hopefully pushing on to get a European place after nearly being relegated. So he's done one hell of a job, and I think there's a lot more to come from him. He's also extremely frank in interviews. Just love to listen to him.
Yeah.
So really great bloke.
On Dean Smith, so that Derby playoff final, was that one of the best games you've been to for what it meant?
It was probably the best day of my life, mate. To be honest, it was unbelievable because it did mean so much. The relief at the end of that was just
getting back in the big
incredible.
time.
I don't know how long we were in the ground for. You know, we was in the ground for ages at the end, and I can't remember too much after, but it was one hell of a well, I felt that what Dean had put into us there as fans, whereas the year before I was nervous going into the game against Fulham, I wasn't nervous for the Derby game at all.
Yeah,
and I felt the atmosphere was a bit different before the game, during the game. I always thought we were going to win that game.
Yeah, it gave you the confidence.
Yeah, that's going to come from not only Dean, but obviously Grealish as well.
Yeah.
Who, you know, if we'd have lost that game, we would never see him play for us again. And
yeah, of course.
That'd be devastating. So yeah, Dean Smith, just that day, I was delighted for him. Delighted for all of them because the passion you see afterwards, there's the videos of all the team and that just mixing with the fans in the hotel and out in the streets and stuff.
Yeah,
really, really, what he created was superb team spirit and really got that connection back. Because when you have Steve Bruce blaming the fans for bad performances, you need a Dean Smith.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But Brucey didn't start off too bad at you, did he?
I don't think he could have started off badly, really, because obviously we had Di Matteo before.
Yeah.
And it was just like watching a car crash in slow motion. We'd already had the season before under started with Sherwood, then Remy Gard, and then Eric Black, and it was just, what are we putting up with here? Getting Di Matteo with throwing away last-minute equalisers every game.
Yeah.
So Bruce could only get better. But then, he just turned back to his toxic ways, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Blaming the fans for this and victimising himself all the time. And he's started to do it a bit now.
Yeah.
But
I think a lot of Newcastle fans feel that as well.
A couple of years at Newcastle. He just likes to be a victim when things ain't going his way. So, I'll thank him because we didn't get relegated to League One that season.
Yeah, cool. So, cheers. Yeah. That's what you need to thank him for. But cheers, Tom, for coming on.
No problem,
before you go, you do do football printing on the back of the shirts.
Yeah, I do.
You did my shirt, which was absolutely fantastic. Love it.
It's a nice little recent one that's just a hand.
Fantastic. So do you want to tell everyone a little bit about where they can find you and what you do?
Yeah, so just drop us a follow on Instagram at PrinceTK. You see it a lot on like Dan Bardell, who's a Villa fans account and that. But yeah, I just try and source printing for people, print their shirts, put the stuff on that they want. And yeah, just do it cheap and fast, whereas a lot of other services can be a bit iffier. But yeah, there will be a waiting list starting soon. So when everybody's watching this, they might end up having to be on a waiting list. Yeah.
All right, nice one. Well, thanks for coming on, Tom.
Absolute pleasure, Ben, mate.
No worries. And that was What I Hit Son, the Retro Football podcast for retro football fans. I said it. That's the first time I've been able to say it. Hey! So,
Honoured to have been here for that.
So, cheers, Tom.